Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Yes, I'm still alive and kicking. COVID has had an effect on me that I really didn't expect. The virus, when I had it, was not too bad at all. I lost my sense of smell and taste, and just generally feeling tired. It's the way it's made me feel afterwards. You know, I've not touched a camera or done a video outside for weeks now, and you know, I really want to get out with my cameras. However, I just find that the effort involved of actually going out is really hard when you're feeling fatigued and you've got a general lack of motivation and interest. Now, it wasn't like this before I had the virus, so I'm in the opinion that it's the longer term effects on the body that's making me feel like this. Now, I'm sure it doesn't affect everybody in the same way, and there are skeptics out there that you know will say, look, it's all in your mind, just get on with it. But you know, all I can say to those people is that if you've not had the virus, then you really can't comment. It's not nice, and it is real. You know, it's very, very frustrating when it's stopping you doing the things that you really want to do. But hopefully at some stage it will pass, and it will let me get on with the things that I love to do, and that's taking black and white images and doing videos. Now, it's not only had an effect on my day-to-day life, it's affected my YouTube channel, which I'm very aware of. You know, I just haven't got the content to upload and share, and that in itself is, you know, it's quite upsetting and frustrating. But anyway, I've just got to, you know, push myself out of this hole and start creating more content for you to watch and hopefully enjoy. So this week's video is about a project that I started a number of years ago, and it's still ongoing. Now, I love to listen to poetry. People that can write poetry have a kind of awareness that triggers emotional responses, often from what they experience and see, and they have that ability to put those feelings into words. And on the whole, you know, I'd say that many photographers are also triggered into taking photographs in a similar sort of way. And an emotional response to what they see and feel. Not the image that you see through the viewfinder will always be the finished image. It's how you use the emotional side or the emotional feelings to create the image to the final print. Here are a couple of quotes from Ansel Adams. "A great photograph is one that fully expresses what one feels in the deepest sense about what is being photographed. And also, the negative is comparable to the composer's score and the print to the performance." Now, those two quotes tell us a lot about photography. It's telling us that what we see in front of us through the viewfinder is not always going to be the finished product. It's about the emotions that you feel inside and expressing that onto the picture or to the final print. And there are certain times when, you know, some of us, you know, we press the shutter for reasons that are not always obvious, but we take the shot and then we study it later. Now, this doesn't happen to every picture we take. However, it has happened to me, and it probably happened to you over the years, that I have taken pictures, and really what's triggered me to take those pictures, I'm not sure. And for me, when it's like that, the print is only half the story. So the idea of poetry that accompany a picture came to me, a book about poetry to images. Now, the problem that I have is I'm no poet, but I'm lucky. My niece, she's an award-winning poet, so I approached her with the idea. Now, she was happy to do this. I picked the picture, and she, through her own awareness, visual emotional responses and vision, tries to explain in a poetic way why I photographed a particular image. The print and the poetry work so well together and complete the story of the picture through words that I couldn't express. Now, this is an ongoing project, so the images and poetry that I'm going to show you are a selection that will be included in the book that I want to do if I ever get it to a print, that is. Now, I'll give you a short intro into each image and let the poetry tell the story. I'll also try my best to read the poems. However, you know, my poetic narration might offend poetry lovers out there, so I apologise in advance. Let's look at the first image. So this is the first picture, which I entitled Beyond the Ridge. It's a picture that I took many years ago, and it's of my first grandchild. I quite like the picture. I like the way that I've edited it with the grasses pulling in to the main subject. And I often wonder though why I took the picture of her walking away from me and photographing the back of her. So this is one picture that I gave to Elizabeth, and she wrote the poem, and I think the poem fits the picture perfectly and tells the story of why I took this picture. Midsummer, she walks before me, scattering her 4 years' height, exaggerating grasses, intent. Reluctant to call her back, I am jealous of her wonderment. Curiosity widens the path. Suddenly, clouds absorb questions. The chevin speaks its own language. Every insect has a message. I am touched by the blackbird's honesty. Where light splits rock, I think I see the beginning of a slow migration. For the first time, I stand in the shadow of her intelligence. Her wardrobe door has opened. I cannot follow. So this is the second picture that Elizabeth wrote the poem for me, and it's taken on a place called the Otley Chevin. It's a high point in the Wharfdale Valley, and you look down on the town of Otley itself. Below the tree line is the road, the Otley Road, that connects Otley to Leeds and to Ilkley. And then behind the Chevin is the Leeds and Bradford Airport, where jets often take off from there and go over the town of Otley itself. When I took this picture, I mean, I don't know these people, but I saw them looking, and for me, I just gave it a title of Time to Reflect. But with Elizabeth's poetic skills, she's added a much deeper meaning to this picture, more than what I could have thought about when I pointed the camera and took the picture. But it perfectly sums up this picture and why, again, I probably took the picture itself. They sit softly, deep in age. The rock, shaped by human warmth, never flinches. Intimate silence. Clouds change unnoticed. The sky, fat with stories, unravels thoughts into an untidy summer. Otley uncurls itself below. They look back at their own track, shadow thick with memories flickering. Leeds Road, swift, vibrates. Rabbits race a jet2.com. A Jack Russell struggles to obey. One hand is placed in another. Sanctuary familiar. So this is the third image, Little White Cottage, Airedale, and as the title suggests, this was taken in Airedale Valley. This is a valley that's south of the Wharfdale Valley. It's a more rugged landscape, more desolate than what the Wharfdale Valley is, where I live, but it still has its own beauty. And this particular day I was travelling along in the car, and I saw these light rays coming from the sky going across the landscape, so I stopped and I waited until one of the light rays came down just around where the Little White Cottage is and illuminated that cottage. So this one really is obvious why I took the picture, but I wanted Elizabeth to try and explain in a poetic way not just the light beam coming down, but why have I sort of edited it in this particular way to give it this bleak look. Have I used the inner feelings, the emotions that I felt when I was there? Have I used those feelings to edit this picture? And this is the poem that Elizabeth wrote for this picture. The landscape sighs, invites me forward. Darkened geography, wet flagstone fields. Footsteps disappear between tufts, hidden things half listen. Air hangs heavy with moisture, birds fold wings, scatter small words. Trees bask in their own shadow, breath lingers on the skyline, leaves fall quiet as history. In the illusion of its warmth, a whitewashed cottage illuminates. So this is the last picture, not the last picture that's going to be in the book, but of this selection that I'm showing you. I entitled it One Man and His Dog, and it was taken on a place called Baildon Moor, an area that I often visit that's near to me. And this particular morning it was absolutely beautiful. There was low mist, but it was just thin cloud, and the sun was trying its best to burn away that mist. Now you must understand, when you look at this picture, it didn't look like that to me. It just was an instinctive thing to pick the camera up and take the shot. It was only when I came home and looked at the picture and started to work on it, then I could see probably why I took the picture. But at that time, I didn't know. I just saw basically the sun glaring into the lens, and the sort of silhouette of the man and his dog. And this again is a good example of where you instinctively take a picture, not through a big thought pattern before you take the picture. This was done very quickly. It's just the feeling that you get inside, and it's not until you do get home and you see the picture and print the picture out that you realise why you took the picture. You've created a picture from your own inner feelings and the emotion that it created on that day. So again, I asked Elizabeth to write a poem for this image, and she just summed it up absolutely perfectly for me. So this is the poem. Early morning, the sun between bleached sheets, enough mist to move a rock. The day's perfume not yet risen. I walk inside my dream, listening to myself, hear nothing. Poverty of landscape, secretive. Shadows are forgotten to show. Wildlife sits like stone. My dog is transfixed, soundless, waiting for sense. Colour is still being invented. Right, that's the end of this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, I do have other pictures and poems, but I won't show any more. It would spoil the book if it ever gets printed, that is. If and when it does, I will announce it here on YouTube and through my newsletter. So subscribe to that and receive free PDF tutorials. The link to subscribe to the newsletter is on my website, and the link to my website is in the description. Now, the idea behind the video is not just about poems to images. Through watching it will hopefully open the mind to a different thought pattern when taking pictures. Not to be too finicky about trying to capture the perfect shot every time. Let your feelings take control, take the picture, then let those emotions, like the poets do, dictate how your mind sees the image, while remembering the capture is only half the story, the print is the end chapter. And I'll just repeat this as Ansel Adams said, a great photograph is one that fully expresses what one feels in the deepest sense about what is being photographed. So thank you for watching. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and as I always say, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video.